Hello everyone, welcome to Kalam IAS Academy's Countdown to Mains 2023 session. This is going to be a very small session wherein we are going to tell you few things about the upcoming mains. So basically in this session, we'll tell you the strategy for last 15 days, what exactly you have to keep in mind for preparing for the mains that is going to start from 15 September. Then what you have to do during the exams, that is on the Friday, Saturday and Sunday. So Friday you will have your essay paper, then you will on Saturday you have GS1, GS2 paper, and then Sunday you have GS3, GS4 paper. And then what you should do from your GS2 optional papers, that is from Monday to next Sunday. And then on the language papers, that is on Saturday you will have Hindi or whatever language you have plus the English paper exam, which are in qualifying nature. And then what you should do after the mains, that is a very important thing. A lot of people don't focus on this part, and actually if you keep these things that we are going to tell in mind, that will help you a lot. So we'll start. So approximately 15 days are left now for the upcoming mains paper. I'll tell you what things you can keep in mind. So till 14 September, what exactly we have to do? We'll tell you a few academic tips and few non-academic tips that you have to keep in mind so that you can excel very well in the upcoming mains exam. First thing is revise strategically. So what is meaning of this? What is meaning of revising? Now in 15 days, every one of us knows that it's very difficult to revise the entire syllabus. So you have to keep those things in mind. First thing is you have to revise those things which you haven't read yet and which are important. Second thing is you have to revise only those things which are important from UPSC point of view. For example, there's no point of revising history before that is like say arrival of Europeans. So that part, if you see the standard books like Spectrum, they have given very elaborately. You can simply skip that part. Now, second thing is you should not study new material at all right now. Just focus on the basics part, and whatever you have read already, you have to revise them. And you can stop reading the current affairs also, because the paper has been set by now and there's no point of reading newspaper and current affairs now. Along with that, new material will create a lot of confusion, because you will be thinking when I will revise that, when I can reread it, and that will create unnecessary stress for you. So it's better that you altogether leave this part and just focus on the old material that you have already read. Now this is the most important thing, that is focus on the themes that UPSC is asking every year, so that you can strategically increase your marks. So by themes, what I mean is you have to just skim through the PYQs and notice what UPSC is asking. For example, in GS1, if you see history part, in the art and culture part, they usually ask questions based on IVC, Bhakti Sufi movement. Or if you see society, every year there is a question on globalization, or every alternate year there is a question on secularism. So you have to pick up these themes and ensure you are very well versed with these topics which are UPSC, which are favorites of the UPSC. Again, for example, in GS3, in economics, almost every year they ask a question on inclusive growth. Or in agriculture, they ask a question on food processing. So by themes, I mean if you have limited time and you have to decide what you have to revise, focus on these parts. And from where you will get these parts? From PYQs. So this is very important. Next thing is you have to start simultaneously preparing your short notes. Again, very important, else you will panic a lot one day or during the day of the exam. So how you have to prepare your short notes? So they should be in such a way that you can revise them in one day, and then second set of notes should be that you can revise in 1 hour. So how you have to do that? So one day means, suppose we have exams starting from Friday and you have time from Monday to Thursday, the last week of the countdown. So you should prepare your notes such that on Monday you can cover GS1, then on Tuesday GS2, GS3, on Wednesday and Thursday GS4, so that you can revise your entire notes in those 4 days and you have very good confidence. And second set of short notes should be 1 hour, such that you can revise the entire paper in the 1 hour. So for example, from GS1 to GS2 you have 2 hours gap in between. So half an hour will be like, you have to, by the time you come out from the center, it will take 10 to 15 minutes, and by the time you enter the center, again 15 minutes before you will enter. So your 30 minutes are gone. Then 30 minutes usually lunch or something you eat. So effectively we have only 1 hour. So your short notes should be such that you can revise your entire paper in that particular 1 hour. And how you are going to make these short notes, I will tell shortly. Then next part is simulating the FLTs. Simulating FLTs means the full length test papers that we have to write. So simulating basically will help you in emulating the entire actual UPSC exam conditions. What you have to do is on Friday write essay, on Saturday write GS1 and 2, and on Sunday write 2 and 3 and 4 in the exact time frame, that is 9 to 12, 2 to 5, 9 to 12, 2 to 5. That will ensure you have actually practiced what UPSC is going to do with you in the real papers. So all the panic, all the stress, all that writing speed, all that habit of moving your hand, all that habit of getting up on the time and writing the paper, all that will be solved. And most important thing that people in last few days stop doing is practicing answer writing. For entire 2 months or maybe 2.5 months, everyone writes a lot, but in last 10 to 15 days, people stop writing answers and they just focus on revising whatever they have done and keep on reading again and again. But that is the worst mistake you can do. So what you have to do is ensure that at least 1 hour writing you are doing 7 days or 10 days before the exam, or 15 days as we are discussing, so that your hand is moving continuously and you have that confidence. Whatever kind of question is coming, you can easily write that, irrespective of whether you know or whether you don't know the answer. So writing is very, very important. Next thing is analyzing the papers that you have already given. So by the time we have 15 days left, we have almost all of us try to write at least 4 or 8 full length paper, and few also write 12 full length papers for the GS. So whatever papers you have written, the full length one, go and read them, go and see what mistakes you have done, try to understand why you have done those mistakes, and most important thing is you have to not repeat those mistakes in the actual UPSC paper. So whatever feedback you have got from your evaluators or peer group, you have to ensure you incorporate that feedback and don't repeat the same mistakes you have done in the actual UPSC exam. So, and apart from that, mistakes is one thing and knowledge is other thing. You have to ensure whatever feedback, whatever input you have received for your answers, you read them, you retain them. So in case if the same question or similar kind of question is repeated in the exam, you can reproduce the exact points that you have not done or not written during writing your FLTs. As I have already mentioned, no need to study newspapers or current affairs now. The papers are already set. You have to just focus on the revising whatever you have already read and whatever current affairs you have referred for the last 2 to 3 months. That is more important. Don't read anything new right now. Now coming when to stop reading for optional. It is very, very important now. Since we have 15 days for the GS, balancing optional and GS is very, very difficult now, because for optional you will get dedicatedly a separate week, but for GS you won't have that separate week. So I would suggest you can stop or at least reduce reading optional from 4th September onwards, because at least you need 10 days to solely focus on GS, because GS at the end of the day is 1000 marks, 4 GS paper plus essay and ethics, it is 1500 marks. But not 1500 marks, like 4 GS 100 and then essay paper 250 marks, so 1250 marks. And optional on the other hand is 500 marks. So you should not keep on studying optional till the last moment. At least stop 10 days before so that you can focus on GS, or at least you can limit it to 1 hour per day. Not more than that, so that you are in the habit of reading your optional but you don't overdo your optional. Then also now is the final time to finalize what pen you are going to use, what kind of diagrams you are going to make, which color of pen you will use, because now you don't have time to experiment. Now is the time to finalize things. So decide your pen, decide the color of your pen, decide whether you are going to make diagrams with black pen, pencil or blue pen, with what color you will be underlining the keywords. So it's very, very important. And other stationery. This includes ruler and any kind of circular compass, because if you are very good at drawing, you can very smartly use the stationery and make good diagrams. So if you are going to use that, finalize whether yes or no, and if yes, then buy them and start using them so that it comes in your habit. So moving on, I'll now be telling a very smart way of reverse engineering, basically a trick for doing reverse revision so that you adequately revise all your 4 paper in the adequate time frame, which is very, very important. See, what happens is everyone knows that we have to revise all 4 GS paper and the essay paper, but the issue comes when at what pace and at what time we should revise that particular paper, because we have to revise in that particular order in the way that UPSC is going to take our exam. So it's very important to revise in very strategically. So I'm telling you the reverse way, reverse revision method, so that it becomes very easy for you to decide what to revise at what particular date. So I'm telling in the reverse way. I'll start from bottom so that you can understand what I am trying to say. And this is the schedule for the last week. Before that you can do as per your own comfort, but what to do in the last week, it is very important. So I'll start with Monday, that is 11th of September. See, you have your paper from Friday, that is 15 September onwards. So I'll tell 11, 12, 13, 14 and 15 you have the actual paper. So what you have to do, just follow this schedule if you are not clear how to revise and what to revise on the what date. So by following this schedule, your revision will be quite effective. So on what you have to do on Monday, that is 11 September, start with GS1 paper. I have already told you, you have to make 2 types of short notes. One is 1 day short note and one is 1 hour short note. So these 1 day short note will be useful here. That is on 11 September. And how to make them? So right now when you are suppose reading GS2, you will take a sheet of paper and suppose you are reading polity. Just write the keywords. For example, in polity, the keywords are judgments, article numbers, some committee recommendations, and some keywords that are being said in particular judgments or that particular case. So suppose you have issue related to sedition, then you have to mention 124A of the IPC. So these are the keywords. You have to just write those keywords and make a sheet. So for polity, IR, governance and social justice. So you have these 4 topics. You have to ensure you just make, say, polity is slightly more important, 4 page, IR 2 page, governance 2 page and social justice 2 page. Some set of notes, these are your 1 hour short notes that you can revise it easily in 1 hour. That is very simple, basically 8 to 10 pages. Now coming to 1 day short note. So here you have to basically increase the number of points so that they are more detailed. They don't have any English as such, they have just arguments in favor, argument against, what introduction, what diagram, what value addition you will do, some data, some examples. So that way you can retain the most important parts in your notes. So they should be in such a way that you suppose devote 35% of your time for polity on that particular day, and then all these are almost similar. you can maybe denote 20% to IR, another 25% say to governance, and the rest part to the social justice class, so that in one day you can very effectively revise your entire GS1. This was GS2 example, but similarly you can do for GS1. And same way on Tuesday revise GS2. Now why GS1 on Monday? Because see, you have to write GS1 on Friday, on Saturday morning, so you will have 4-day gap. So in this reverse revision, what we are going to do, revise every paper 2 times at least, so that your revision is very effective. So on Monday you have GS1, again on Friday you will have GS1, so that you effectively revise GS1 2 times. Friday right after essay you will revise GS1 and GS2. So that is our strategy. So on Tuesday you have to revise GS2. The strategy I have already told. 1 day short notes you have to revise here. All important things, data, key facts, everything, best practices, government schemes. So these are to be revised on Tuesday. Then you have GS3. Same strategy of revising in entire 1 day. This is the most challenging paper to revise in 1 day, because the number of topics are too many. You have almost 6 topics, which becomes difficult to manage and revise, but you have to do that, and that is where your short notes of 1 day will be very, very helpful. On Thursday, that is a day before the actual essay paper, you have to revise essay plus GS4. Now why essay plus GS4? Because a lot of knowledge of GS4 will be useful in your essay. Codes, thinkers, some values, some examples of basically ethics, they are very, very useful in the essay paper. And GS4, if you read effectively, it's quite doable in half a day. You can easily revise your GS4 paper in half a day if your notes are very crisp and you know to the point what you have to do. And along with that, you have to prepare your essay. So essay as such, we don't prepare for body part, we focus on what all value addition and what all things we can add in our essay. For example, some anecdotes, some introduction, some stories, or some lines that we have particularly separated for the essay. And the previous essays you have written, see them, read them, and understand what mistakes you have done and what feedback you have got, so that you don't repeat the same mistake on the next day. Because this is Thursday and on Friday you are going to write your essay paper. So it's very important to devote some dedicated time for essay and revise it along with GS4, because that will help you a lot. Now coming to the Friday, the D day, because Thursday is the last day for revision, and ensure that you sleep on time. This is very important. Stop putting night outs or stop sleeping late. You have to sleep as early as possible. Maybe 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. You can maybe wake up early, but don't sleep too late. Now coming to the D day, that is Friday, on which you are going to write the paper. So go with a very calm mind, do some kind of deep breathing or meditation while you are sitting in the exam hall. Generally it starts at 9 a.m. We reach the exam hall around 8:15 a.m. and 8:40 or 8:45 they close the doors, and now you are sitting in your classroom. So for those last 10-15 minutes you can do deep breathing or meditation. That will calm you a lot. And then your essay paper will come. You write your essay paper, and now you return after writing your essay paper. Next day you have to write GS1 and GS2, which is the biggest challenge. So on that day you have to revise both GS1 and GS2. Here if speed is good, if your notes are good, you can revise your 1 day notes for both GS1 and GS2 at very fast pace, and ensure effectively revising both the papers again on the Friday evening, on Friday afternoon. One thing that I used to do is PYQs. As soon as I come after writing essay, what I'll do is I'll take the paper of the previous year, for example 2022 paper of GS1 and GS2. I'll do a brainstorming of 5 questions, 5 10 marker of GS1, 5 15 marker of GS1. So effectively 10 questions of GS1 plus 10 questions of GS2. I'll just brainstorm. So what happens is you actually come into the mode of solving questions of GS1 and 2. Your brain starts processing thoughts in that particular way, and believe me, that helps you a lot. That helps you to come into the flow. Don't think if you know answer, if you don't know answer. More important thing is coming into the flow, which is very, very important. And no need of doing paper discussion. That is your essay paper. Just forget about the essay paper. How you have written, you have chosen a wrong topic, right topic, what was the interpretation of your topic. Don't think at all of these things. Whatever is done is done. Jo ho gaya so ho gaya. Right now focus on GS1 and GS2. Still 8 papers are there to go. You have to focus on that part. So again, and no night out at all. Very, very important. I know a lot of people who put night outs and they fail miserably on the GS3 and GS4 day, because one day is fine, but 2 days it's very, very difficult to sustain your body without sleeping. And apart from that, you have to write papers. 3 hours, 4 papers. So no write outs. Again, try to sleep 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. max, so that you can write your paper next day very, very calmly. Same is the strategy for GS1, GS2. As soon as you write on Saturday, you will come back. Now you have to revise GS3 and GS4. Now issue is here, after essay ends at 12, but GS2 will end at 5 p.m. So you'll have very less time for GS3 and GS4. That's why this revision of GS4 along with essay will be very helpful. Right now you can just revise GS3, because GS3 has lot of things, and for some time you can revise your ethics. And again, no paper discussion. That is, just forget about GS1 and GS2. Whatever is done is done. Now we have to focus on GS2, GS3 and GS4. So again, very, very important. Just focus on GS3, GS4 and ensure you do effective revision. And the strategy of 1 hour short notes, the gap between these two papers. This is very important, the gap of 1 hour and this gap of 1 hour, because half an hour I am assuming will go in your lunch and half an hour will be gone in coming out and going back again to the center. So effectively you have 1 hour. These 1 hour notes are very important. In that particular 1 hour you can revise GS2 and GS4, and it should be effectively utilized. But again, it should be based on your personality. If you are the person who thinks that I cannot read in that particular 1 hour, just sleep, try to sleep, take a small nap. That will be much more helpful to you. So I hope this thing is clear, and that is very, very effective. I have personally done myself.